for joining us for this discussion. And today we're going to discuss about the independence of institutions, not just here in Kenya, but also in Tanzania and Uganda. And to help us unpack this whole issue about institutions, government institutions in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania is none other than Kotonde Kotonde, a political analyst from Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome to Mwanzo TV.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you've invited me for this discussion. Yes.
So let's start with your perspective about the institutions, public institutions here in Kenya. Do we have independence of institutions in Kenya?
I want to say that the institutions we have, as per state of events, they are equally independent. Like, we can start with the one which always carry out elections, that is the Independent Electoral Boundary Commission, headed by Wafula Chebukati. We also have the one that is the executive. We also have the one, the cabinet. We also have Parliament of Kenya. There are so many institutions, and categorically, we believe that the rule of law is always followed in each and every department.
Let's start with the Directorate of Criminal Investigation and the DPP. We saw when President Uhuru Kenyatta ascended to power, some of the high-profile cases being dropped, citing the director of the DPP, citing that lack of evidence. Do you believe that the DPP was dropping those cases on accounts of lack of evidence?
First, I want to, first of all, congratulate all those who are nominated. Then finally they were grilled. Then thereafter they were given the mandate. That is the just concluded CSS in the country. And to touch on what you've just said, the DPP headed by Haji is independent. And therefore, we cannot just pretend that they can bring someone down, maybe on accounts of allegations. They must work with substantive evidence and experts. And therefore, like the just concluded cases of Aisha Jumwa, we have a good number of them regarding Ashagwa. We always believe that when the cases are not properly supported by evidence, they are always treated and perceived as hot air. You can see the case which was involving the just concluded general election for the presidential results, which were thwarted by Azimio team. Yeah. When they went ahead and presented all the exhibits they thought was right, they were properly checked, keenly analyzed by the very officers under that docket. Yeah. At the end of the day, they were all found to be not substantive enough, and therefore they were dismissed. The same applies with the office of the Haji. It's not that is coerced in a way, but as the other day was being interviewed, and he said that he is not in any way coerced. He is working for the benefit of the whole country and the entire citizen. Therefore, on the basis of those cases, I am cocksure that it was not coerced in any way. There were no substantive evidence to at least indicate the persons therein. Okay? Yeah, so these people are equally clean based on the office where they were subjected to.
But in the very interview that Haji was being interviewed in one of the local TV stations here in Kenya, he said that he was pursuing those cases under pressure from various quarters in the country. So, in your opinion, who is to blame for the collapse of those cases?
One, the persons who I think we can say as parties, we can talk about police, all right, whereby they were also involved in the investigations. We can also talk about the big fish in the country, and even we see it around in this state and even in the entire continent. There's some other persons who are interested in these cases whereby it's like we have a mentality of our man or our folk is being followed. Okay, one of our own, they're fighting one of our own, and therefore we have such kind of cocoons. But the plain truth is, we want the best out of his office, no matter the state of like, I'm being coerced, I'm being pushed to this level.
Yes.
Let him follow what the law says, because that is what he has been standing for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these institutions were created under the Constitution of Kenya. And so when you see a person of the stature of DPP, Nurdin Haji, saying that he was working under pressure, do you believe as a country we have enough safeguards to protect these institutions?
Yeah, I believe that we have what it takes to uphold these offices. Because one, I remember, I can just take you back shortly, way back in close to 2013 in Kenya, we had the then CEO for IBC, Oswago,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
There were cries all over the country that his office was so much into corrupt deals. He ended up vacating the office. We also saw the immediate former of IADC. He also left the office.
Yeah.
We also saw Ezra Chiloba as the one who took over from Oswago himself. He left the office because of such deals. What I'm saying is, we have our constitution and we have our institutions which are guided. Therefore, these offices are guided by one, we have policies and frameworks which are always respected in this great state. For cases of corruption, you've seen that most of them, of these clans, are always leaving the office either honorably or maybe by the rule of law.
Yeah.
Two, we've seen charges against them, like the one for the current series MP.
Yes.
That is Major Luke. Okay, he was elected and nominated. I mean, nominated and then elected.
Yeah.
As of now, it was found that he's guilty, of which we are very sure that the rule of law will take its course. But he's still clean until proven otherwise. So ways by which they have been doing this is one, jailing. Some are also declaring their worth and where they got the other wealth. And also, they also relinquish the officers. Like the other day, we saw the governor of Siaya, and that's happened, and even the governor of KC, whereby he was literally going for the ghost workers. Like, can be like, tell me if you are a true driver of this car, which car have you been driving? So it has been flashing out a lot of cases of ghost workers, corrupt deals, and such kind of things. So what I'm saying, we have so many ways, just like the ones I've mentioned, to at least protect these institutions going forward.
And talking about Major Waluke, the MP for Sirisia, he's incarcerated, but Jubilee members of Parliament yesterday decided on him to go to one of the parliamentary committees. Is that a plot to make sure that he's released from?
I think, just as I said when we were starting, that we have this syndrome which is really killing most of Kenyans and the entire Africa.
Yeah.
When your brother is convicted of corrupt deals, you always come up as a family. Major Luke is not from the central part of Kenya, but is from the western. But by virtue that he vied on a Jubilee ticket, he forms part of where the party stands.
Yeah.
Therefore, this cocoon of MPs who are yapping to at least let him be released and also be given an opportunity in any committee, were doing so because one of their own. They are there to protect one of their own, not at the interest of what Major Luke did to this economy. And therefore, I am not saying that what they are doing is wrong, but it's equally wrong. Why? Because by protecting those who are bringing down this economy by means of fraud is equally not well with us. More so, the vijana, what are we telling our young generation? That the only way you can maybe get to where you want is through dark deals. So I will automatically not be for him being protected by the said MPs.
Another institution is the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, and George Kinoti recently, immediately after President William Ruto was elected, George Kinoti resigned, and Haji hinted of opening a case against him. What is your take on that? And do you think that is the best way to go or to approach that issue?
First, when George Kinoti did an obnoxious stuff, he did a bad thing, that is, by virtue of resigning immediately when the newly installed President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, was installed, was a sign that there's some malice deals he has been doing with the current or the outgoing government. You can remember, there were so many cases which he was following. There was a case to do with Aisha Juma, which was under his desk, and others. But I think to him, he thought that now that the persons he has been following are no longer the ordinary persons, he might be feeling insecure. But that tells us what we have and the problems we have in this state and even the Africa. That you can only serve the true Kenyans justice when they are, quotes unquote, somebody, or they are under a certain umbrella which you respect. Public offices are not like a personal entity whereby you can rule and do it the way you want. It should be in a position that you do the public service to the best of that very, very citizens.
Yes.
My good friend John Kinoti did a wonderful stuff by, I mean, not a good thing really, by resigning. He's right. Haji is right to go after him because there are some cases which were involved under his care. Like they just concluded cases to do with there's a lawyer who was assassinated with a certain journalist.
Yes.
There's another one who was just assassinated a Pakistan's.
Yes.
There are so many. They are not properly investigated. And you'll find that in one way or the other, he might have been having a hand. Because like we've seen in most countries, we have these tokens. I'm sending you this, I'm sending you to this case, or I'm sending you to go for this case. But if you get this nusumkati, I mean, we call it the tokens, or the corrupt deals, come and we can cover that business. I think it might have been in such kind of deals Why resign at the time when the transition is not yet done? Yeah.
Now, let's talk about two events that happened in the National Assembly. First, when the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula was making a ruling on whose side between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza has the majority of members of parliament. Of course, he ruled in the favor of Kenya Kwanza, which is is a coalition that pushed him to ascend to that position of the Speaker of the National Assembly. The second event is when the National Assembly was approving the names of the CS. First, they disapproved Penina Malonza as the CS for tourism, only to be approved at the last minute. Having seen those two events in the National Assembly, don't you think there is a hand of the executive in controlling the National Assembly?
I want to say that first, allow me congratulate Comrade Moses Wetangula for having been elected into that third most powerful position in the state.
Yeah.
Let me take you back. Before elections, there were some pacts. Kenya Kwanza had pacts whereby we had money, we had power, we had UDA as the mother of all these stuffs. Yeah. On the other side of the coin, we had Azimio. Azimio, as you know, it was a coalition, and it was also having very, very many minor parties. Podium was there, KANU was there, Jubilee was there, and others. Now, when it comes to the time people were voting, people were being installed to vote and vie different positions in the country, we didn't have an Azimio party member. As in this zone, we are having Azimio party registered as a nominee for certain and various positions. Yeah. The only person in this country we were having as the Azimio nominee was His Right Honorable Engineer Dr. Raila Molodi Odinga. Now, coming down, in each and every zone, like I want to categorically put it, Western region, that was Azimio, Nyanza and Western. So anything else, no. Come to the other side of the coin, that is central part of Kenya. Yeah. It was Jubilee. Go to the other side of the world, that is Baringo, that is Rift Valley, that is. They were taking the side of, we had the KPU for John Lonyangapuo, and then the one for Gideon Moi, that is KANU. Go to the other side of Coast Province. The Coast Province was majorly Azimio, and we had some other ODM and such stuffs. Yeah. Now, come back to Kenya Kwanza. Kenya Kwanza, majority, irrespective of the area, it was majorly the UDA. Yes. Go to the sides of Muranga, the current governor, Muranga, UDA. That is just a sample. Go to Kandara, the one which was just left by Alice, UDA. Go to the other side of Rift Valley. The entire Rift Valley was swept by UDA. Coming down to numbers now, it is of any nature clear to any person within the Republic that UDA carried that the day when it comes to numbers. If you go to Azimio, we don't have members registered under Azimio, but we have members in that umbrella coming as individual parties. Hence, when it comes to counting and checking which team carried the best part of the day, was Kenya Kwanza, right? So, Comrade Moses Wetangula was equally right in his senses as a lawyer that the party which carried the day was Kenya Kwanza. I am still standing with Comrade Moses Wetangula, the Speaker of the 13th Parliament, that what he did was equally right.
And now talking about
just to finalize on the other side, you also asked me about state of events that some CSS nominees were dropped, and then at some final stage they were instated.
What informed that?
What influenced that? What I can say is that, as I said, each and every person is born differently. There are some introverts, extroverts, and ambiverts. Malonza Penina might be falling in the introvert side, whereby as much as this very, very lady was an immediate deputy governor, how can you now tell us that the position of a CS is not possible for her? Because she could not, at one particular time, was not in a position to answer some questions. In a class setup, it's not a must that every learner must be in a position to answer each and every question correctly. There might be some cases of, I don't understand this question. You don't have to victimize such a child. As I have also sometimes studied special needs. You need to see where we can categorically place our CS. Yes. So I don't want to say that it was coerced in a way to at least meet her, but later on, the very, very committee members thought it wise to at least recheck her state, and congratulations to her for having been fully fledged to lead the very docket she is having now.
No, it's the beginning of the administration of President William Ruto. Comparing the two administrations, the one for President former President Uhuru Kenyatta and President William Ruto, which among the two can you say that was very much interfering with the independence of institutions in Kenya?
What I can say fully is that as at now, it is barely 53 days when the current president, that is Dr. William Ruto, was installed. The former president, Comrade Uhuru Kenyatta, we can say that there's some sense and signs of misuse and abuse of power. You can remember the time Raila joined the then government, that is in 2018, as a sign of handshake. You saw the frustrations which the very officials and members of presumed Deputy President then, William Ruto, were being treated. One, Kithure Kindiki, he was ousted as the speaker. We have so many cases. So that one is a sign of like, if you don't sing to my tunes, then I will automatically teach you a lesson you will never forget. Take the case of Aisha Juma. Take the case of Kipchumba Murkomen. Such cases tells you that as much as they, at one particular time or the other, worked so well, but we have some signs of misuse and abuse of power. Coming back to our friend, Comrade Dr. William Ruto, I think he's also not doing it right, because he has decided to award and reward his loyalists. He has decided to award and reward his lieutenants who assisted him in carrying out his manifesto. What now challenges me is, will he be in a position to fully question his team in terms of delivery? Because we are told that it is in the public domain that a good number of these officers he chose as CSS, some of them score millions of money in terms of supporting his presidential bid.
Yeah.
All right. By virtue of so, these very persons will be recovering what they submitted. And by that, they will be delaying the service delivery to the common mwananchi. So both sides, this is like a double-edged sword. It is cutting across. Our president, he has some areas of weakness which you must understand. Accepting to nominate the likes of Aisha Juma, who people knows that she didn't do well as per the level of learning. Cases of Malonza, such cases of Linturi, who openly said that he's having 35 cases unfinished. So a lot of questions. And then the other side of Uhuru, as I've said, he's also having his side parts.
And Kenya Kwanza has been alleging for quite some time that former President Uhuru Kenyatta was using DCI to make those Friday's arrests to politicians who don't talk to his side of his political side. Is it something that you can substantially say that the president interfered with the DCI by using Kinoti?
Which I can say that by the time the problem started in 2018, when Uhuru came to power for a second term. At this time, there used to be a slogan by the time they were campaigning in 2013, that kumi yangu, kumi yako. My 10, your 10. Now, Ruto being a son of a peasant from where he is from, when we joined in 2018, that is the time the rain started hitting us. The president wanted to have a grip of his central region, just as Raila. And by anybody coming to at least interfere with that, he was using all the means and possible at his disposal to frustrate them. But what I can say is that there comes a time when the big fish will automatically get old too. There comes a time that if you didn't deliver to your people, when you were in a position, you cannot come and convince them otherwise. And that is what Ruto saw in his immediate predecessor. He went ahead and grabbed the opportunity at the central part of Kenya and used his means of empowering the young and the forgotten parts of the central persons. Then he brought them on board. That is why our immediate former was so bitter. He was not doing that he had some substantive evidence, but just to give them threats. Like, if you go to the Nyanza region, anybody who is out to maybe vie as the president when Raila is still vying, you are seen as a traitor. You don't want to see anybody coming ahead of. But that one has been not the case in the central part of Kenya, because we have been having Karua vying, we have been having Matiba vying, we have been having Muite vying. You can see. But when it comes to the other side, no. So the message I'm trying to say is that the then president didn't use the opportunity he had to empower the people such that when it comes to Mutuwetu syndrome, it was not now sailing through. But I can tell you for free that going forward, the moment you're in a position and you're not in a position to empower the people you presume to be your Mutuwetu, Watuwetu, time will come when they will automatically dislodge you from that very position. Yes. And even we are seeing such kind of rebellions in the Nyanza region. It is not that the people of Nyanza are out to dislodge Raila, but the fact remains that time is up for Mzee. He has done his best, and he has done his very, very best. Awachie wazee nafasi, awachie vijana nafasi, so that they can as well. We love it. Go to Tanzania. If you go to Tanzania, the presidents who have been there are of different caliber. Some are from the lowest families which were not known, like Mama Suluhu. I'm told nobody knew her. All right? But by virtue of democracy, you can see what's happening. Yes. Look at our comrade, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, the late. May his soul rest. You can see the way he was from a very humble family. Yeah. Look at Kikwete. Look at Mkapa. Look at Mzee wa Taifa. Those are the kind of leaders we need to have across the country. Not like what is happening in Uganda, whereby you must lead with the fist. You don't have to go that road. Go to Nigeria, where democracy is prevailing. Go to Ghana, the home of democracy. Go to South Africa, whereby if in case you're found you're not fit for the position like it happened to Jacob Zuma, that is the road we need to go to. We nurture these stuff into the young generations going forward.
You just said that in Tanzania, by virtue of someone from a very smaller tribe can ascend to the presidency, it means democracy-wise there. How can you compare Kenya and Tanzania in terms of maybe democracy and also our institutions, in terms of independence of our institutions between the two countries, leave alone Uganda?
In terms of respecting and upholding the institutions of these two states, that it's Kenya and Tanzania, one, I can say that we as the Kenyans, we have not done it fully when it comes to two-third gender rule. But in the other side of the world, that is Tanzania, I can see, I always watch their parliament, I can see they are fully fledged and they are fully implementing the two-third gender rule. When it comes to the way our institutions are also run and manned, ours, we are not as per democratic as per the law. We have the initial D, democracy, but it is not democratic. Let me take you back. They just concluded elections. Many people, men, women, persons living with disability, vied, showed interest. But it is sad that provided that your pocket is not as rich as presumed, don't come close to that. If you are not in a position to cough millions of money, then don't even think of getting close to such positions. But I don't think that's happening in Tanzania, because I remember watching a very young lady from a very humble family, very humble. She became an MP at a very young age, all right? But that one cannot be seen in most political positions and political institutions in Kenya. Yes. So what I can urge the country, the neighboring state, Tanzania, I want to leave alone Uganda, because there is nothing like democracy in Uganda. They are living and leading the country as his own house. Comrade Yoweri Museveni once said that if you want the power, go to the bush. We are not really willing to go that route. I'm also requesting our brothers from the north, that is South Sudan, the newly started state, let's embrace true democracy. Let us not see power as a means of thinning and frustrating and doing a lot of nasty stuff to our fellow Kenyans, our fellow citizens, and our fellow countrymen and countrymen, men and women.
And in terms of maybe constituting these institutions, how best can the process be in terms of maybe choosing commissioners, choosing the directors, and in some of these government institutions, not just here in Kenya, but maybe across East Africa?
All right. I want to say that when it comes to choosing leaders of these great institutions, there must be a criteria. By the time we were learning way back, we used to have several schools. You are supposed to choose these schools. But you only go to such a school when you have merited it. There are schools which were accepting 200 and below, up to 100 marks out of maybe 500 or 800. There are schools you cannot even go close to the gate, leave alone get into the school, close to the gate with 250 marks out of 500 or such. Yeah. The message I'm trying to say is, we've seen cases whereby our institutions are not properly manned by people qualified for such positions. Why? Because utakuja kusikia mtu wetu, utasikia I was referred by. One, let there be criteria. Let there be a cutoff whereby if it is the position of the government, like what we saw the other day, it is sad talking about it. I don't know why we go to school to earn degrees and masters and such stuff. The other day, the current governor of Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya, had issues to do with degree. If you are not in a class, Victor, why do you have to insist that you are in class? Taking us into rounds. You cannot be invited and selected and admitted at the prestigious university across Eastern Africa, the University of Nairobi. And then you come to a village university, team university. I've been Googling that and I can't even find it. What I'm saying is, there must be a critical and a way by which there's a cut line. That if you don't merit, kindly don't even apply. If you don't meet these stuffs, don't apply. Two, the moment you are going for a position in a public office, kindly declare your wealth, declare your assets, declare your liabilities. Like what was being asked to the PSS, the nominees for CSS. It was good. Can you tell us your worth? Such that by the time you are given the opportunity and mandate, if you had 3 glasses, and all of a sudden you have a tray of glasses, you'll automatically explain to us where you acquired the money. Because it will be like, is this money commensurate to what you're getting as in terms of salary? So declaring your wealth is equally good. Declaring your assets is equally good. Declaring your liabilities is equally good. Third one, we must as well engage our rules and regulations based on the judiciary. We must respect the judiciary. If Kotonde is or have been involved in corrupt deals, it is right, like it happened in South Africa, whereby Comrade Jacob Zuma was involved in some scandals. As a president, the ANC decided that, my brother, you are not fit to be in this very position. Therefore, you have to let go. That is the way to go. We don't have to be, our person is being followed. Our person is being frustrated. And therefore, let's come together and cover our own person. No. The moment you have decided to eat the money, which you think is not right, by the time you are going for calls, kindly go alone. I don't want to say it in our local dialect, but that is the truth. When you are stealing, steal. Fine. But the moment the law will come to you at your doorstep, kindly abide by the law.
Lastly, what role do you think Kenya can play in terms of maybe influencing other East African countries to have these independent institutions in their countries?
Thank you very much for that. Kenya, as always been, has been perceived and seen as a pace setter in most African states, more so in the eastern part of Africa. One, Kenyans must uphold the key stake, integrity and respect to the rule of law. Cases to do with extrajudicial killings must be toned down. The other one, the institutions we have, starting with our constitution, must be respected at all costs, irrespective of who you are. I used to get it way back that then president, that is the late Moi, was above the law. There should be no time that anybody under the sun in this country should be above the law. Yeah. 3, when it comes to political stakes, because most of the time we always have wars, wrangles during general elections, such stuffs. I want to request that when positions are announced, are declared that these positions will be vacant and all that, it is time that our political bodies respect the will of the people. They must respect each and every sector so that we be like a benchmark, pace setters. Because when we have wars, Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, down here Uganda, Tanzania, and other neighbors, Rwanda and Burundi, and even DRC, the home and their home, where they feel home, is always Kenya. I want to request that we be, 1, we respect the law. 2, we be corrupt free. Because I'm told there's a friend of mine from Nigeria, he always says that when you're in Kenya, we fear you guys. I don't know why they fear most Kenyans, but the bottom line is we must uphold integrity. 2, we must respect the constitution. 3, we must respect and support the judiciary, the anti-corruption departments, the EACC department, all these departments, we must respect them and uphold and give them the support needed going forward. Just to finalize, unless you have, but if you have something, but I'll prefer you give me time to at least finalize fully. Yeah. I want to request our Kenyan family. The elections were done. The people voted, and their will must be respected. We are a democratic state. We have 48 governments, that is the national government being the 48th one, and county government, 47 county government. I want to request, because I've seen what's going on in the social media, that we have presumed areas where they are against this current government run by Kenya Kwanza, Dr. William Ruto. I want to request humbly that the moment you go against the national government, we will not even see anything coming down to the common man. Yet, we are all taxpayers. We are all taxpayers, and we are having full right to enjoy the fruits of the national government. There are some things which you are not allowed as the county government to do. We have some schools, we have technical vocations, we have roads, we have hostels, though the services are devolved, but there are some areas you must work with the national government. Embrace this government. Embrace the good ideas. Embrace the new CSS. And to our MCS, we just saw wars and wrangles in one of the areas, that is Meru. we want to request MCS. We know very well that you have interest, or there's a semi-god somewhere who is propelling these wrangles. Calm down, tone down. Give service delivery to the persons who woke up, stood in the scorching sun, and voted for you. Give the governor time to work. This one goes across the 47 counties, because I know soon and very soon we'll be having another war somewhere. I don't want to preempt and predict where, but I'm seeing signs. It is very important to respect the people who voted for you. Know that those, it is about 2,000 days, and we'll be getting back to the elections. Close to 2,000 or close to 1,800. We'll be getting back to the election. Respect the rule of law. If the governor is not right, there is a way, an amicable way of solving. We don't want to see the ulabalus and the fights going up and down. It is wrong. Respect that. Then finally, our governors. We've seen cases of nepotism, tribalism. Mutu wangu. Give the jobs to those who merit it. Irrespective of who voted for you, he didn't vote for you. It was against you, it wasn't against you. Treat that as a Kenyan. Treat that as a person who is qualified for such positions. That is what I really want to request. And to our CSS, you are given the mandate. You are the eyes of our president in running and recovering and rejuvenating this dilapidated economy. Give the best to the Kenyans, give the best to our president, and know that you'll be held accountable when your time comes to an end. Otherwise, thank you very much for the invitation.
Yeah.
Just to finalize, my mom was watching, and she requested me to at least say hi to her.
Yes.
In a very special way, my beloved mom, Mama Isidora Ogutu Kotonde. You've been a mother to us, and Mama, our boys. Yeah. You have been a mother to us, and we really appreciate for your upbringing. May you live long, and the entire family. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kotonde Kotonde, political analyst from Nairobi, Kenya, for coming and also helping us unpack some of these issues pertaining to the state of politics, not just in Kenya, but East Africa. And that was Kotonde Kotonde for you, helping us unpack the state of politics here in Kenya, and especially the independence of institutions, government institutions in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Thank you so much for watching. Let's meet at 9 p.m. for news making headlines in the country and in the world. My name is Victor Wanaswa. Bye-bye for now.